one of the best things that happened to gaming. Electronic Arts deciding not to renew their license for the Batman games franchise.
Hey, Sharpie. Love what you've done with the place.
That's Warden Shop to you.
And as fate would have it, Eidos Interactive would obtain the rights to the Batman games and in turn hand over the responsibility of developing the new video game IP to a rather inexperienced developer, Rocksteady.
Not so tight, boy. She'll crease the suit.
Get that filthy degenerate out of here.
In 2009, Rocksteady released Batman Arkham Asylum, and rest is history. Arkham Asylum ended up becoming one of the best comic book adaptations among superhero video games. What's up guys, join me as we take a look at Batman Arkham Asylum, what makes it so special and how it stacks up in 2025.
There's no escape, Joker.
Silly bat! I don't want to escape. I'm having way too much fun. I even have you here to keep a smile on my face.
Rocksteady started development of the game almost immediately, with a 40-member team that ended up inflating up to 60 by the time the game released. For the game design, instead of following in the footsteps of their predecessors, Rocksteady looked at comic books for the inspiration. Veteran writer Paul Dini was taken on board for developing the story component of the game. The game and story were developed together. The core aim, make the game engaging enough for players to spend 8 to 10 hours.
Whee! Great night for a party.
Not where you're going.
If you're an oldie like me, you must have noticed that most of the characters' voices sound rather familiar.
I thought I told you to stay quiet.
Oh, Frankie. You really should learn to keep that fat mouth of yours shut. It'll get you into trouble.
Well, this is because Rocksteady ended up casting original voice actors who had actually worked on the DC's animated universe. This gave a sense of belongingness and nostalgia to people like me who grew up on the animated series of the 90s. Batman, the way I saw it first. And this added a unique sense of authenticity to the game's world. It felt alive.
Hey, I'm Batman. No! Hey! I'm Batman!
Developers also intended to use other Batman characters such as Mr. Freeze, but decided against it, as they looked out of place with the story devs had envisioned. Overall goal of the devs was to create the game design that would combine comic book style with realism. Characters, barring a few, all seem like they are on steroids, with muscular and bulky features like in the comic books. Batman's design was heavily influenced by the work of comic book artist Jim Lee, who drew Batman as a strong, muscular character that could take part in extreme combat believably. Design for Arkham Asylum deviated from comic interpretations, and artists chose to develop a complete island somewhat on the lines of Alcatraz prison, composed of multiple buildings to allow for greater variety and exploration.
Don't worry, Doctor. I rescued you first, and now I'll search the other room.
The medical building was inspired by Victorian architecture, and its metalwork structure was intended to inspire feelings of horror. Intensive treatment unit has a gothic industrial aesthetic. Catacombs were meant to feel oppressive, and the maximum security area was designed to feel claustrophobic. To bring these areas to life, the level designers produced game mechanic elements using simple room layouts and shapes, while concept artists worked in tandem to create artwork for each location, following the art direction.
Oh, I'd like to thank my fans for their undying support, and the people of Gotham, who I'll be seeing very, very soon.
They also decided that cutscenes should be used to advance character relationships, and that after each cutscene, the player should have had their goal changed or the importance of their actions modified. Priority was given to keeping action sequences under the player's control, rather than showing them in cutscenes.
Something's not right. I'm going with him.
Story-wise, Rocksteady did not overcomplicate things. Batman, while delivering Joker to the Arkham Asylum, finds himself into the middle of a prison riot, which has been orchestrated by the Joker to specifically coincide when Batman is returning him to the asylum.
New patient in the intensive intensive treatment lobby.
This ends up being a massive setup, leaving Batman against an army of criminals, psychopaths, and supervillains. This also allowed the devs to incorporate different villains from the Batman universe.
I've got your scent, Batman. I will hunt you down.
To stay true to their comic book designs, and due to Rocksteady not having legal rights, devs purposefully decided to avoid movie inspirations.
You took longer than I thought.
Story of the game is short, concise, and does not overstay its welcome. Most of the missions are mostly comprised of Batman either rescuing someone or something, or trying to find clues as to what the heck is going on around here. Speaking of finding stuff, for the uninitiated, Batman as a superhero has no magical abilities.
What are your superpowers again? I'm rich.
He's just a mortal human being dressed as a bat in a bulletproof suit with some top-of-the-line fancy gadgets. That's it. The real asset that separates Batman from the rest is his mind. He has a unique mind that is capable of outwitting almost everyone he encounters, and on top of that, of course, a body that can make jealous even the fittest of the athletes around. Batman is not only a skilled martial artist who can effortlessly beat up thugs with his fists, but he's also a detective and a tech whiz rolled into one deeply disturbed, conflicted human being. This investigative detective part to Batman's personality, getting it right was the biggest plus point that Rocksteady managed to achieve.
Oracle, I'm on Dr. Young's trail. I've had to calibrate the scanner to only show recent prints. If I follow these, I will find her or the notes.
There is a feature, Detective Mode, which is used to provide contextual information on Batman's surroundings and highlights objects that can be interacted with. Detective Mode also displays how many enemies are there in the vicinity, their location, and whether they are armed or not. It can also be used to solve puzzles or identify DNA samples in crime scenes during the story, enabling Batman to follow specific trails. This opening right here is a few minutes long, sets the tone for the rest of the game perfectly. Further, barring a few, all the major players of the game are somewhat introduced. Game also sets up one thing straight, that underneath the cape, this version of the Batman is mature and is always prepared for anything.
What's he doing?
Stay where you are.
Get a flashlight. Get a light on him.
Our institution is temporary.
What? Don't you trust me?
Our guest has arrived.
After some light tutorials introducing the player to game and its mechanics, the full scale of the island is revealed. It says a lot about the devs and their vision for the game. Now let's talk about the game's other star mechanic, its unique combat system, which is very simple to get into but kind of hard to get master at. Rewarding when one manages to land a combo on a bunch of bad guys without getting a single hit in return. And frustrating when we miss out on combos due to something like this. This will become the signature of the franchise moving forward, a very well focused, refined and rewarding combat system that works. As per devs, combat was considered one of the biggest challenges while developing the game. The team worked on philosophy that if it is something simple for Batman to do in his world, then it should be easy for the player to execute as well. Combat was designed to be unique for Batman and was given a simple control scheme to reflect the ease with which Batman can perform these moves. The game's free-flow combat makes use of 4 main functions: evade, attack, counter and stun. This makes it simple for the player to move quickly between enemies, chain attacks and build up combos. Using these 4 functions in tandem is vital to ensuring that Batman is able to attack effectively while avoiding being attacked himself. The higher the combo that player amasses, the faster and stronger Batman's attacks becomes.
The dead man won.
Of course, game would become rather monotonous with combat alone, and keeping that in mind, action sequences are broken down with light stealth sections, and to give us players a feel of how Batman operates, players can utilize several different methods, including silent takedowns from behind, and my personal favorite, inverted takedown like this.
Yes, it is I, Edward Nigma, the Riddler. And more importantly, your intellectual superior.
Somewhere around our first mission, Riddler hacks Batman's comm channels in an attempt to outsmart him and prove his own intellectual superiority. This way we, the player, get an added incentive to roam around the game world while trying to solve Riddler's puzzles. There are also several other items that can be collected as part of Riddler's challenge. These trophies are hidden in obscure locations, interview tapes that provide psychological insight into Batman's enemies, and cryptic messages left by the spirit of Arkham that shed light to the facility's dark past.
Through my actions, I have saved this cursed city, though my own curse is to forever remain in the shadows.
Finding and solving these challenges award the player with experience points, which can be used to upgrade Batman's abilities, gadgets, and health. Devs really crafted the game with love and due care, and this shows in game. Whenever Batman in one of these vents, there are spider webs everywhere which also interact with Batman's movement. This also seems to be true for a lot of the objects.
But it's starting to rain. Bruce is tired. Can't we just wait for him here?
As the game progresses, Batman's suit will show visible signs of deterioration, further highlighting the level of details devs aimed for. Devs also hid a secret room full of Batman Easter eggs, which speaks volumes about the dedication with which the game was crafted.
I'm not crazy! I shouldn't be here! Keep those mouths shut! Batman! Batman, can you hear me? They're taking us outside!
Although the game got stellar reviews, critics did not like the way boss fights were handled, but I kind of enjoyed these too. My personal favorite being these scarecrow encounters, the way these are presented.
Cut me free!
He's all yours, Joker.
Scarecrow does not operate directly in combat but through fear gas. Anyone caught up in it ends up experiencing their worst nightmares, and this aspect, the nightmare part, I thoroughly enjoyed these. In one of these encounters we see an alternate version of Batman eating a rat. I mean, mind-blowing. Kind of reminds me of Max Payne 1's nightmare missions. It really felt like I was watching 90s animated cartoon series. How far video game graphics have come. So let's get back to our original question, how the game plays in 2025. One word, superb. On PC, the game scales up very nicely with almost no issues. Visually, even my lowly 3060 managed to display the game on 4K without any major hitches. Except for these scarecrow missions. I remember they used to give trouble back in the old days too.
How are you doing this? You've ingested enough toxins to drive 10 men insane. What are you?
Obviously, a great game cannot be without good music and sound effects. As the case here, music of the game complements wonderfully to the overall dark theme the devs were aiming for.
Batman!
Don't speak. You're safe now.
But it's a trap!
I know. Just not for me.
Back then, even before the game came out, people were divided in their opinions. Stigma surrounding movie IP video games was so negative that there was a lot of skepticism whether the game would be able to deliver or not. Superhero games had a tendency to not live up to expectations in the past, but when people got their hands on the game, they were pleasantly surprised. It was a Batman game, and it was also a good game. Rocksteady could have easily gone big, but that could have gone wrong easily too. Being a new studio, no one expected much of them, but their attention to detail and careful crafting of game story, world design and game mechanics meant we, the fans and the gaming industry in general, got one banger of a video game that still runs like a finely tuned race car. That's it for this video guys, thanks for watching.